We are hearing Bhaktyaloka 12 essays written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura in relation to second and third verse of Upadeshamrita. Now we are hearing about Niyamagraha. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining that there are different levels of eligibility. Like outside of Vedic, then Karma Kand, and when one fulfills Karma Kand, then he can enter into Jnana Kand, and then Bhakti. We heard the temple of Krishna Prema is established at the very top of Golok Vrindavan, surpassing the steps of the material universe, 14 worlds made of Karma Kanda, piercing the steps of Jnana Kanda in the form of the Viraja and Brahman, that is Buddhists and Jnanis. One rises to the top of Vaikuntha, gradually giving up practices of karma and jnana, which are steps. One attains qualification for bhakti. Surpassing the steps of bhakti, one sees the door of the temple of prema. Steps of bhakti also are there. Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Gurupada Shray Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nibritti Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, then Prema. So many stages. The niyam, or the rule, for the person who has ascended to the stage of bhakti is faith. When faith, by the strength of worship under the shelter of devotees and guru, destroys anarthas, bhakti manifests as the stage of nishta. Surpassing various stages as anarthas are destroyed, from nishta, ruchi manifests. So first is one who has faith in the existence of Krishna and that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that by serving him, all are served. Without serving him, you cannot do any good to anyone. When this faith is there, this is the first step or first qualification for bhakti. Then worship that bhajana kriya under the guidance or shelter of devotees and guru, that is sadhu sangha and guru padashray bhajana kriya, then that will remove anarthas. Then you come to the stage of nishta, steadiness in devotion, or our Gurudev said, fixation of the mind to the object of worship, because no any other desires will deviate your attention to some other things. Only focus on the service of Bhagavan. Surpassing various stages as anarthas are destroyed, from nishta, ruchi manifests, that is taste. When one gets such taste, then totally there are no any other desires. Mahaprabhu said, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kovitam ba jagadisha kamai mama janmani janmanishwara bhavatat bhaktir hoitukittai. I don't want anything of this world. Even I don't want liberation. I only want causeless devotion to you birth after birth. Why someone is praying for this? Because he tasted devotion. In comparison with that, everything else is useless. That is why they are praying only for this, naturally. From ruchi, asakti manifests. From asakti, bhava manifests. Bhava in the form of rati becomes rasa by combination of ingredients. Here Srila Sridhar Maharaj told that after the stage of nishta comes ruchi proper, real ruchi. It is not that someone in the beginning stages will can claim that he got ruchi. Sometimes maybe by the causeless mercy of Krishna some drop of some experience, some bliss, some happy moment may come. But that is only to encourage you to practice. It is not that you became realized soul or that you have taste for devotion. No, that is only to encourage you that you know there is something and you will strive for it. So it is only after you regularly do bhajana kriya. In Madhurya Kadambini Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, there are two stages of bhajana kriya. One is anishtita, that unsteady. When someone is practicing but sometimes chanting, sometimes not, sometimes worshipping, sometimes not. And there are 6 types of unsteadiness also they are mentioned. So that is unsteady because anarthas they are constantly attacking. But as one can destroy anarthas that much, he can gain steadiness in his bhajan. He will not be deviated by another anartha, so then he will be steady in bhajan. He will subdue anarthas. Then after that, real ruchi can come. It is not that, oh, very nice prasad today, feast, pakora, paneer, and very good kirtan, we were all dancing for enjoyment. That is not actual ruchi. It is not taste for devotion. It is taste for material enjoyment. That is unsteady. But if one attains ruchi after going through these stages, then really he wants only satisfaction of Krishna. And no wealth of this world, no followers, no material relations, no property, no name and fame, nothing, not even liberation, nothing. He only wants to satisfy Krishna. That is not so cheap, that ruchi. Something, yes, very nice kirtan, we were jumping, but after some time you don't see them anymore. They say it was total ecstasy, like this. Such words, total ecstasy. But why then you are not steady in the service of Krishna? Because that was not real ruchi. Real ruchi is not so cheap. What to speak of then later stages, asakti, bhava, even prema is nowadays very cheaply you can get. Some, they say, I have prema, I can give you prema. No need to do anything, just I will give you prema, like this. Then we will be deprived of eternal welfare. Then when one attains bhava stage, that is called rati. And when all those ingredients of rasa, they mix, then it will become prema. Or it will become rasa by the combination of ingredients. That vibhava, anubhava, sattvika, and vyabhichari. Vibhava, yes, no, sthayi bhava, yes, permanent emotion, sthayi bhava, and then vibhava, then alamban, object, and abode of love, all those. They have to mix. Yatha yatatma parimrijyate so mat punya gata shravanabhi dhanai tatha pashyati vastu sukshmam chakshur yathaivanjana samprajuktam. Krishna said to Uddhava in 11th canto, To the degree that the Atma becomes purified by hearing and chanting my glories, a person is able to perceive my real form and qualities and experience their sweetness. Just as the eye, when smeared with special ointment, is able to see finer objects. Here someone may ask, why is it said that Atma becomes purified? Atma is pure. Why you are saying when Atma becomes purified? The point is, Atma is pure. Atma is always transcendental. It is not material, gross matter nor subtle matter. Mind, intelligence is beyond that, pure. But what is the impurity of Atma? When Atma does not want to do her own natural eternal function in relation to Krishna, that is service to him because it belongs to him. When wants to enjoy this world, this aversion to Krishna, that is impurity of Atma. Wrong action. And then Maya will envelop you and you will forget who you are, to whom you belong, what is your natural function. Then when you gather enough Sukriti, then you will get Sadhu Sangha. Then Sadhu will awaken your Atma and its natural function. But at that time you are not yet fully released from the grip of Maya and not fully dedicated to Krishna. As a starting point, when you turn away, you start sadhana bhakti, then it will take some time through all these stages to get purification of consequence of that aversion and also aversion, and to fully dedicate to Krishna. Purified Atma means Atma which is unconditionally surrendered to Krishna, fully dedicated to him, serving him. And up to that degree, how much aversion is removed and how much attachment, dedication you get to Krishna, up to that much you get vision of reality, of Krishna, of yourself, of this world. Like I heard from one Maharaj, he once went, he's born Western born, one sannyasi Maharaj. He went, I'm saying because that is not the point, Western born, India born, but only so that you can understand why it was new for him. Generally Indians, they know this, but he came to Vrindavan and he wanted to take darshan of Radha Govinda in Vrindavan, and there was so much crowd and you could not go near. So from far he was trying to see. Then one man came and said he has that ointment for the eyes, Ayurvedic. And by that he will be able to see very far. So that Maharaj said, okay. And he said he applied that to the eyes ointment and it was very burning, very difficult to tolerate. But when that subsided, then he said really he was surprised how far he could see. And very clearly, like if you put glasses or something, he clearly could see how his vision improved. So that was new for him, that kind of Ayurvedic treatment. Then gradually again it will fade away. But here Krishna gives this example that as much as Atma becomes purified, means becomes dedicated to Krishna, up to that degree, how it will be purified, how he will be purified by Shravan about Krishna and Kirtan about Krishna, then that Atma will be able to perceive my real form and qualities and experience their sweetness up to that degree. Just as the eye, when smeared with special ointment, this Ayurvedic ointment, is able to see finer objects. This is from Bhagavatam. Rupa Goswami makes the stages clear in Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sango Tha Bhajana Kriya Tato Narta Nivritisya Tato Nishta Ruchistata Tata Saktis Tato Bhavas Tata Prema Bhyudanchati Sadhakanam Ayam Premna Pradur Bhava Bhavet Krama. First, there is association with devotees by which one gains faith. Then, one associates with the devotees to learn the scriptures, and then practices bhakti. The anarthas are then destroyed. Steady bhakti without confusion follows. Desire for the Lord, or ruchi, appears. This is followed by spontaneous desire for the Lord, asakti. This becomes bhava and then prema. This is the progression for manifesting prema for those performing sadhana bhakti. Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu. There may be kripa siddhi also mentioned in Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu, but that is very rare. Kripa siddhi means by the will of Krishna or by the will of some powerful devotee, they may bless and the person may get prema immediately without sadhana. But that is very rare and one should not count on it, like thinking, okay, I will do nothing and I will wait till I get that kripa siddhi. That is not sincere. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also said, why Krishna is making like this, that he will give kripa siddhi to some, and to some he will give prema after doing sadhana. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, because Krishna is unlimited, has unlimited varieties. We cannot put any accusation against him. It is because of variety. So generally it is jivas will progress through sadhana to prema. Very rare is that kripa siddhi, but it is not impossible. But it should, that has to be really a real thing, because nowadays I heard also recently, no need to do sadhana. Only you get grace of certain, they think he's a saint, you will get prema. So that is cheap thing. You will not get prema by that. You will get some material emotions and you will mistake them to be prema. So like highest type of raganuga sadhana. No rules, no regulations, nothing, no sadhana, nothing. Only you do that, like sing that kirtan of rasikas, think of the meaning, and automatically you will get that prema inside your heart. No need to, I asked, you follow Ekadashi? No. No Ekadashi following, nothing. Not necessary. That is why Rupa Goswami wrote, if that is only disturbance to society, such kind of practices, cheap prema. Rupa Goswami wrote that Raganuga will come at the stage of ruchi or bhava Jiva Goswami said you can practice already before, but together with Vaidhi Bhakti. And then Rupa Goswami said in Raganuga, all limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti are also there. Our Gurudev explained, they will also do all limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti, but with great love, with that relation they will do. They will not neglect. That is misconception. Raganuga is without anything. That is not correct. One thing is they will do, but with greed, with that greed to satisfy Krishna. But others will do because out of duty. That is the difference. But it is not when you come to Raga, then nothing you will do. Why Mahaprabhu followed Ekadashi? Why Sanatana Goswami wrote about Ekadashi following? Rupa Goswami wrote. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Ragavartma Chandrika, in that book, he explained that Ekadashi is also a limb of Raganuga sadhana. You can see only certain Vaidis, certain Vidis, certain rules are not necessary in Raga, that worship of Dvaraka and some other few he mentioned. They are not in that direction, but all other Shravan, Kirtan, Ekadashi, all Tilak, everything is there for Raganuga sadhakas also. But they are saying we are practicing highest Raganuga, no need to do anything, no need initiation, even this is not necessary. No need Ekadashi, no need nothing. Only you sing Kirtan and you get Ras, Prem. So what to do? It is happening. I thought this was happening only before, but now I'm directly experiencing this happening now. They have such things, and they are means they are trying to bring people to that fault. This is how I came to know, because they wanted me to follow that also. Why trouble? Immediately you will get prema. So yes, very good. You can have. I'm misfortunate. I am in this gradual procedure. So here Rupa Goswami is saying that is why we are Rupanugas, following Rupa Goswami, blessed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, real God. In sadhana bhakti, faith, nishta, ruchi, and asakti are the 4 steps. This is sadhana bhakti. Surpassing these 4 steps, one becomes situated at the stage of bhava, the door to prema. In the various stages, with different degrees of faith, there are slightly different niyamas. What you have to accept, what practices, and what you should not do for different stages. When one puts one stage behind and rises to the next stage, one keeps the rules of the previous stage behind and respects the rules of the later stage. Persons who do not do this, not giving up the rules of the previous stage, become bound by the chains of the previous rules and cannot rise to the next stage. This is also dangerous. It has to be done under the guidance of bona fide Guru. I saw also the practical experience some years back. One, he thought, yes, now I surpassed all the rules. That is okay for certain level. That is okay, but I already went beyond, now only prema, and not following anything, only relishing prema. But that is not real prema, that is the problem. So, yes, you have to give rules of previous stage, but once you attain the purpose of that stage, then you give up. Not just give up because you imagine that you attained higher stage. And those rules are not necessary for you anymore. All the rules accepted at each stage on the path of bhakti are included within one primary general rule. This general rule or niyam is described in Padma Puran. Our Gurudev said this. What we are to do, what we are not to do, here you will get in general. Smartabhyo satatam vishnur vismartabhyo na jatuchit. Sarva vidhi nishedaksyur etayor eva kinkara. From Padma Puran. One should always remember Vishnu and never forget him. All injunctions and prohibitions are dependent on these two principles. It is always necessary to remember Krishna. From this foundational vidhi rule, all the rules of scripture arise. One should never forget Krishna. From this foundational nished arise all rules of prohibition. If one remembers this fundamental rule, the sadhaka at the time of progressing, giving up steadiness in the previous rules, takes support of the later rule. If he does not do so, he becomes contaminated by default of niyamagraha and will not be able to progress. The sadhaka should remember this at all times. Our Gurudev told, if there is anything which will remind you of Krishna, but is not mentioned in scripture, that can be accepted, if this purpose will be served. If there is some action which will make you forget Krishna, but is not mentioned in scripture, you should not do that, because of that purpose. So purpose has to be fulfilled. Il Hari Bhakti Vilas. There is an instruction on this matter. Krityanye tani tu prayo grihinam dhaninam satam likitani natu tyakta parigraha mahatmanam. The activities described are mainly for rich householder devotees, not for the great souls who have renounced. It is in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Mainly all what is there in regard to deity worship in Hari Bhakti Vilas is meant for rich householders because they have to engage all their wealth and everything for the service of Krishna, to divert their attachment from material things to attachment to Krishna. But if one already is detached from this world and he's attached to Krishna, a renounced person, then those rules are unnecessary for him if he has this. Avashyam tani sarvani tesham tadriktva sidaye prag apekshani bhaktir hi sadachareka sadhana. Since the rules for the renounced person are expected in this work, for perfecting the renounced stage, the sadhaka should observe the previously described rules. When you are in that stage, then you have to follow those rules. When you will accomplish that, then you will have detachment. Then you can accept the rules of renounced order, not prematurely. Then you will be nowhere. Like first you have to learn how to walk. When you know how to walk, then you can learn how to run. You cannot, like one small child, you cannot tell him you run. It is impossible for him. Bhakti, the conduct of the renounced devotees, is the correct conduct in this regard. That alone they should observe. It's from Hari Bhakti Vilas. The first characteristic of the person who has attained faith is surrender to Krishna's lotus feet. This is of two types, for the householder and the renunciate. The rules or niyamas in this state, what should be observed by the householder, are compiled in Hari Bhakti Vilas. All the vratas, such as Shiva Chaturdashi, are recorded in this work. Among those rules that are suitable for the renunciate should be observed by the renunciate who has surrendered to Krishna's lotus feet. As the householder and renunciate progress in sadhana, they become completely surrendered. Then their rules become slightly different. In that state, as sadhana advances, complete, pure surrender to Krishna appears. Jnana nishto virakto va mad bhakto vanapekshaka salingan ashramam styaktva charet avidi gochara. Like, I think I am like Madhavendra Puri. I got some glimpse of something. Now I'm thinking I'm Madhavendra Puri. Like Madhavendra Puri, I will follow his rule of he will not beg for anything. He will accept only if someone voluntarily gives something to him. Not even go begging. That is the duty of renunciate. They have to go begging to survive for their maintenance, and householders they should earn. Madhavendra Puri did not even beg. And there it is written, he could tolerate everything. Why? Because he was always drinking Krishna Prema. That is why he is not disturbed by any of these bodily things. So his way was, he is only doing bhajan all the time in ecstatical that prema, and when someone will offer something to him, Madhavendra Puri will see it is Krishna's desire, it is Krishna's grace. He wants me to keep this body alive, so he will accept. If he does not get, he will fast. It is Krishna's will, Krishna's grace. Only he will chant whole time. But he is not disturbed. But if I try to chant, only chant, then hunger will come, thirst will come, cold will come. So many things. Can I tolerate? No, never. So how I can accept the rules as he? I'm not on that stage. So I have to do according to my stage, and when fulfilling that stage you can progress, and then fulfilling that stage you can progress like this. It should be done under the guidance of bona fide guru who knows whole path clearly and who can see where you are and what you have to do. Otherwise you may become frustrated or fried or dried or all these things, and you will get nothing ultimately. Jnana nishto virakto va mad bhakto vanapekshakah salingan ashramam styaktva charet avidi gochara. A person fixed in jnana and detached from external objects, or my devotee who is detached even from desire for liberation, both should reject the ashrama duties based on external rituals or paraphernalia and conduct themselves beyond the range of rules for ashramas, that varna ashram, because they are already detached from world. Difference is jnani, he wants liberation, but devotee wants service of Krishna. But both are detached. So for them, those rules to become detached do not apply. Varna ashram has to be followed to get detachment, but they already have, so why they will follow that? Or one who attained devotion, he will not follow the rules of jnana. No need for him. That will be setback, obstacle. Already he is attaching himself to Krishna. Why he will want liberation and detachment from world? And devotees also, they are on Vaidhi sadhana. Those who don't have greed for the service of Krishna, they have to follow all those rules given by Guru and Shastra according to their state, so that they can gradually progress, purify their heart. When all anarthas are destroyed, when that greed will, strong desire to serve Krishna will appear in him, then he will only want to serve Krishna, that very strong desire. Then for him there is no need of following those rules which were meant to bring him to this stage, to purify him, to bring him to this stage. But now he already got, so he will not follow those things. He will follow what he has to follow now. You need not tell him, if you will not worship Krishna, then you will have to suffer material existence. You are his eternal servant, you should worship him. He has no need for these explanations. And for regulations, you have to wake up early for Mangalarati, then you have to do this morning kirtan, you have to chant fixed number of rounds. That is not applicable for him. His only thinking is how I can serve Krishna all the time. And he will be guided by those Brajavasis inside, what kind of service he has to do according to Lila. That will be his practice. Not deliberating on Shastric conclusion. That it is conclusion of Shastra, yes, you have to worship Supreme Lord. That is not necessary for him. He has strong desire to serve Krishna, no any other desire. He feels his eternal relation with Krishna and he wants to serve him all the time. Only guidance he will have at that time is, Rupa Manjari will say, bring water, bring camphor, that guidance, but not other guidance. So here also, ashram duty is not necessary for renounced persons. Ekantitam gatanantu Shri Krishna charanabjayo bhakti swatah pravarteta tadvignai kim vratadibi. When one becomes completely surrendered to Krishna's lotus feet, then devotion is spontaneously established in his heart. What then is the need to observe vratas or rules that simply obstruct one's bhakti? But the point is whether this is genuine. Really you have spontaneous attraction for Krishna and desire to serve. If not, then you have to follow. Otherwise you will be nowhere. That is why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, although he is topmost devotee, actually descending from Golok Vrindavan, but because so many immoral activities were going on in this world in the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the name of Raganuga, like beyond rules. So they were doing all things, and someone said, no, we are beyond rules. That is prema only, but they had no prema, only genuine prema, only doing enjoyment in the name of prema, in the name of Mahaprabhu's teaching. That is why Prabhupada intentionally he took sannyas, which is a part of Varna Ashram Dharma, so that he can be checked by others whether he's following the rules or not. He said, I am not on that stage of Paramahamsa. That is very high stage, that kind of purification. I am not on that stage. Also, I am not on the stage of Raganuga. That is very high stage. I am in Vaidhi. So by that, purely following, he again established dignity of Gauriya Vaishnavism, because so many things were going on in the name of Raganuga, in the name of Prema. But if someone really got that stage, then he may follow these rules and regulations also to be example for others or not. That depends on Krishna, how he will want to engage him in preaching or not. Like Banshidas Babaji Maharaj did not follow, because that was desire of Krishna for him. So Prabhupada did not allow his disciples to go near him, because they will not understand his activities and they will think he is not following rules, so he is not a devotee, so they will commit offense. So Prabhupada said he is a pure devotee, but you don't go near him, you don't observe him, you bow down from distance. Then you will be safe from offenses. So this is one thing. But totally another thing is someone faking prema and doing all kinds of nonsense activities in the name of prema, that should be exposed. Prabhupada also exposed such false prema practices. Prabhupada is in prema, but because he was ordered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to preach, he had to do this as an example, to follow rules, so that we may have example, because we are on that stage. But he himself does not need this. So when one becomes completely surrendered to Krishna's lotus feet, then devotion is spontaneously established in his heart. What then is the need to observe vratas or rules that simply obstruct one's bhakti? Like we are observing Kartik Vrata, certain rules. Every day you have to sing this song. Every day you have to remember this teaching of Mahaprabhu. Every day in this period you have to remember that lila. But if someone got that spontaneous devotion, you need not tell him to observe vrata. He's spontaneously serving in lila. There is no need to tell him, at this time this lila is happening, or you have to sing this song. He's automatically doing that. Raganuga does not mean doing nothing, but automatically doing all what is for the satisfaction of Krishna. He never goes against rules, only if that is some obstruction, then he will reject, but purpose will be retained of satisfying object of worship. So he's not actually breaking. But you need not tell him you have to worship Krishna for 1 month in a regulated way. Already he's all the time worshiping, serving Krishna, not only 1 month, all the time. So for him those rules do not apply. But if someone thinks, yes, I'm I need not follow any rules, I have prema, but he does not have, then he will get nothing. Namai ekanta bhaktanam guna doshod bhava guna sadhunam samachitanam buddheh param upayusham. The fully dedicated devotees who see equally everywhere and who have achieved the Lord, who is superior to Prakriti, do not have the gunas which give rise to qualities of good and bad. They are nirguna, beyond the guna. So why they will have to follow duties for Brahmins who are in Satya Guna? That is not for them. They don't follow what is good for Brahmins, what is bad for Brahmins. Already they are beyond that. They are directly serving Krishna on transcendental platform. For them, those rules are not necessary. Evam ekantinam prayah kirtanam smaranam pravo kurvatam parama pritya krityam anya narochyate vihiteshu eva niteshu pravartante swayam hite ityadi ekantinam bhati mahatmam likitam hitat. This verse we are hearing during Kartik Brata, but translated into Bengali by Bhaktivinoda Thakura from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Those who have completely surrendered generally engage in kirtan and smaran with great affection for the Lord. They do not have taste for actions prescribed for persons of lower qualification. Sometimes by their will, they engage in all the daily activities by their will, not because they have to. They are not bound by the rules or niyamagraha. Thus, the glory of the fully surrendered has been described. Their glory is not diminished by their not practicing the various actions, because by those actions they are already satisfying Krishna. We hear that verse of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Ekanta Bhaktir Matra Kirtan Smaran Anya Parveruchi Nahi Hoy Pravartan. No other taste except Kirtan and Smaran. Bhaver Sohit Hoy Shri Krishna Sevan. This is the important point. Bhaver Sohit, with bhava, with great love, they are worshipping Krishna. Bhaver Sohit Hoy Shri Krishna Sevan. Swarasiki Bhave Hoy Bhabudipon. From their own eternal relationship, there is that stimulation for increase of love. There, in that stage, if I am not, then I have to do all those things which Guru says. But if you follow these rules given by Guru and you get that bhav and swaras, own rasa, that spontaneous, then you can also do kirtan smaran and no any other things. Bhaver Sohit Hoy Shri Krishna Sevan, Sarasya Bhav Krama Hoy Dipon. Raga Bhakta Kriya Mudra Ragodito, sei sop nahi vidhi viporito. Sarva tyag korileo chara sukutin, pratistasha tyaga jatna paive pravin. They sometimes don't follow vidhis, but they are not breaking the purpose of devotion. They are following with rag, with attachment. And then everything we can give up, but pratishta is very difficult to give up, name and fame. This is also one kind of name and fame. I am higher class devotee than really I am. So if someone has and does not want to follow, then he will also be deprived. The meaning is this. The great devotees situated on a high level observe the rules of a lower state simply by their free will to teach others. Those qualified for jnana engage in varna, ashram, and dharma by their free will, not out of obligation to follow the rule. Those qualified for bhakti observe by their free will, for some reason, all the rules of persons qualified for karma or jnana also can do, but by free will, not because they are bound, to be example for them. Though they are not obliged to follow the vidhis and nishedas of those paths, they do so by their desire. Similarly, the person qualified for the highest bhakti, the completely surrendered devotee, though he observes all the rules of karma, jnana, and ordinary sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi, he has no niyamagraha. Independently, he is engaged in pure bhajan inside his heart. Giving up niyamagraha, the sadhana bhakta follows the rules according to his spontaneous inclination. This produces auspiciousness for him. 1 second, I have to see how here they translated. Sadhana bhakta here means raga bhakta, I think. Yes, giving up niyamagraha means following rules which are not for your stage. Yes. Even while doing so, he remains engaged in one-pointed bhajan of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna according to his own independent mood. That sadhakas who give up niyamagraha, yes, sadhana bhakta or sadhaka, who gives up niyamagraha and begin to observe regulations, very quickly traverse the path of advancement. Only one sentence. The teaching is this. Following the niyamas or rules of one's qualification, the sadhaka attains a higher stage. The result of niyamas. This is the result. Then he is not attached to the previous niyamas. The sadhaka, always remembering this teaching, progresses through the various stages while aiming for bhajan, consisting of smaranam and kirtanam of Krishna. As we heard in the 8th verse, Rupa Goswami says the essence of all advice is to come to that platform, to always do smaran, kirtan and smaran, following and staying in Vrindavan and following Brajavasis, one to whom you are attracted spiritually, to follow that. So externally, in this world, externally they will chant Harinam, and internally in their spiritual forum, they will always assist that devotee in Vrindavan, to whose mood they are attracted. Under his guidance, they will serve Krishna in that way. In our line, we heard assisting Radharani. So that is the ultimate goal of a sadhaka, to get through different stages. Then, when he's situated in that type of sadhana, then after that he will be able to get that Surup Siddhi, and then when Krishna wills, he will get Vastu Siddhi. He will enter into Lila. So tomorrow we'll hear about that Maharaj, his appearance day, and if some more time we can continue. Today we finished Niyamagraha. Tomorrow Jana Sangha, about how dangerous it is to associate with non-devotees for sadhakas. So association with non-devotees should be given up for the sake of bhajan. That we'll hear tomorrow.